What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today in the review box, we have a Hot Wheel, and this Hot Wheel is all new for 2025, brand new casting. It is the Lotus Cortina. Now, this casting is equal parts exciting and equal parts disappointing for me. So let's get a closer look at it and see why that is. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at our casting here. So nothing really looks out of place or wonky in proportion. So that is definitely good to see. Always a nice thing there. Go ahead and pop the real life car up in the corner there for a bit of a comparison shot. And I think it looks pretty solid. Yeah, real good actually. So let's go ahead and break the casting down here because there are a couple interesting things. So everything you're going to see in this kind of creamy white, that is going to be the main body, the die-cast section. However, this breaking point right here, this is actually going to be the base, which I really like the body color base match here. It actually looks a lot better than it typically does on this one. And it's also up into this front section of bumper as well. I actually forgot about that because it matches so well. Anyhow, though, as you can see here, this bit right here, this is a piece of the interior that's poking out to make that exhaust. The taillight and kind of rear detail license plate section, that is also going to be a piece of the interior. Moving up front, this grille section, from what I can tell without taking the rivets out, I think this is a piece of the window. So, yeah, some really weird and kind of cool engineering choices were made to get this casting to look pretty solid and pretty good. Yeah, overall, all your body lines are obviously going to be there. Hot Wheels doesn't really typically skimp out on that kind of stuff, and it looks very, very solid in my opinion. So for the paint and deco, so we got a bit of an homage to some real life decos that this car ran with. I don't know if 71 was ever actually used, but yeah, it's at least a cool little homage. You do get the Team Lotus stripe down the center, and it does say Team Lotus right there, and then you get the Lotus Tampo right there. So basically an homage to a real-life deco that this car runs with. Now, I don't know if this was actually a livery that the car raced with, if this is maybe a Jim Clark deco or something. Don't know the full story because, like I said, this is one of my least favorite Lotuses, if not my least favorite Lotus. As a Lotus fanboy, that's kind of a weird thing to say that there's any that I don't particularly love. And yeah, I do love this car, don't get me wrong, but it is probably my least favorite because it's more of a Ford. Moving into the details, and this is where the real disappointments kind of set in. So we do get the Cortina kind of labeling right here, but then we get no front details whatsoever. So this little light, nothing. This light, headlights, nothing. No Lotus badging, which that actually is probably accurate now that I think about it. But this kind of here, not really all that detailed. This is all molded into the plastic and stuff and does look good, but the lack of headlights really kind of hurt the appearance. Coming down the sides here, good wheel choice, I think. They're really small too. They kind of dish wheels. They look good. They look pretty good. Now, coming into the rear section here, again, this is a piece of the interior. So while it was molded out quite nicely, that no like color to the taillights or license plate stuff is just a little bit disappointing, and I don't love it. It is what it is, though, I guess, and it's all right. I just wish there was something we could have done. I am going to make my own headlight decals up here because the headlights absolutely need something done with them. I don't know if I trust my painting abilities enough to actually try to attempt to paint the taillights, but if you are better with a paintbrush than I am, then perhaps that is something you could try. Moving into our roll test, it's a Hot Wheels mainline, so it should be no surprise that it rolls, and it rolls quite well. I went ahead and put this one on the scale, and it comes out to be 30.35 grams, so a little bit lighter than the typical mainline, but it is kind of a smaller casting, and there is a heavy amount of plastic kind of interwoven into it. Pros and cons. So the first big pro is going to be this is the first Lotus Cortina in 1/64 scale. At least the only one that I know of. I don't think there's been any others. If there have been any others, though, this one's definitely going to be way easier to get, way cheaper to get. The other big pro I'm going to give it is the engineering of the casting itself. I really quite like that they kind of, the interior works its way into the rear section here to kind of keep that green striping going. And then I like how it also pokes out as a piece of the base for the exhaust. And then I really like that this kind of front grille is worked into the window. So very, very cool little engineering choices. Now for the cons, though, you already know what is coming, and it's going to be the lack of tampos. So normally I'll give it a strike if it has some lack of rear tampos, but this one lacks front as well. It does get this up front, but I think they counted that as the top. Our 3 tampoed sides were this side, the top, and then that side. It is what it is, I guess. But I think headlights would have really, really helped. I don't know. For some quick size comparisons, here we have it with some other Mattel Lotus castings with the Matchbox Lotus Exige and the Hot Wheels Lotus Avaya. And here we have it with some premium models from other British manufacturers here. We have the Lotus Evora GTC made by Kyosho on your left, and we have the Aston Martin Valkyrie made by Poster Cars over here on the right. Overall scores here. So the hype level, decent for this one actually. It took me a minute to find it. I didn't find it until I was on vacation. So that's going to be a 9.45. Execution, I'm going to give it a 9.1. The lack of kind of detailing on the lights especially is a massive disappointment, and so that's going to factor into it heavily there. Feedback, I'm going to give it a 9.25 because really that's the only complaint a lot of people have had is the lack of tampos and stuff. So yeah, I think it's pretty solid. When we take these 3 scores, average them out, we will be left with an overall score of 9.27 out of 10. I think that's a pretty fair score for what is overall a good casting that just needs a little extra love, maybe going premium or silver series. Because it's a great casting, really. Engineered quite cool, I think. Really, really like the way they did that. This deco is actually really cool. The first edition, I think, pays homage to kind of the classic look of this car. This first edition one, again, probably worth the pickup just for the kind of first edition aspect of it and the fact that it's a cool deco. This one does need a little bit of love, though. There is no trying to hide that. So front headlights, absolutely needed. Rear lighting of some kind would have been a benefit as well, but headlights for sure. I will be making my own. Hopefully they come out looking good. I am very curious to see what's next for this casting. Like I said, I think Silver Series would be fantastic for it. Find a good fitment for it, I think, and give it a full tampo treatment, and I think we will really be cooking here. I still highly recommend this one. Again, the $1.25 price point, not that bad. If you're not good at making your own decals, some silver paint where the headlights go would probably send this car over the top as well. And with that, that will close up this review, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and do not forget to leave a comment down below telling me what your thoughts are on this particular model. Make sure to go check out a whole host of other videos. I've got probably 100 of them by now, and I will see you in the next video.